my agents of destruction and my greatest creation, death.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Professor X just got a bunch of visions of the X-Men after the massacre on Genosha during Episode 5. All the visions were connected and meant to show you him seeing everything that happened and everything that will eventually come to pass. And a lot of it, obviously, is connected to Gambit and what's happening to him on the show. Even though it might seem like he's dead right now, he's not gone from the show forever. And it's all because of Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister's master plan. So we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. We're in the middle of X-Men 97 episodes right now. They've already confirmed that they're doing at least 3 seasons. If we're lucky, we'll get like 4 or 5 seasons. But during X-Men 97 episode 6, we found out that Professor X had been living in the Shi'ar Empire on the other side of the universe for the past year since the end of season 5. They'd healed him with their advanced medicine, and at the end of the episode, just as it seems like he's able to convince the Shi'ar High Council and Deathbird that they were not from a Milky Way ghetto, she really threw some extra spice on that one.
Spoke the quiet part out loud. Xavier would see his Milky Way ghetto become our new throne world.
Just as Professor X was getting through to them, he stops short when he receives psychic visions of everything that happened on Genosha during Episode 5 and more. The "and more" is the really important part here, though. When he sees the dead bodies of all the Shi'ar in the astral plane sitting in their chairs in that schoolroom, that's meant to be him seeing the death of all the Shi'ar Empire eventually coming to pass. Like every single one of them, even on the other side of the universe, eventually being killed. Because of what's happening, what's in motion back on Earth. Then it's very important that the next thing that he sees, after seeing all their bodies there, is Gambit rising up giant size. There's a couple of things going on here too. The reason why he perceives Gambit as massive is because he's sensing the Wild Sentinel's attack and Gambit's death at his hands. Gambit is meant to represent the Sentinel itself in this moment, but also when he sees Gambit's face look at him angrily and then changes to the skeletal face with the red glowing eyes and shoots him with the green energy beam, killing him too. What you're meant to take away from this is that Professor X is seeing Gambit's future and he's seeing Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse's plans in motion behind everything. Like Gambit is now a pawn of Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse, and he's going to be using him, and they'll be conspiring to basically wipe out life everywhere. Not just back on Earth, but all the way over on the other side of the universe in the Shi'ar Empire too. Gambit's red glowing eyes here, the green energy, are also meant to represent Mr. Sinister's connection to this. Confirmed connection because of that final ending scene before the credits, where Mr. Sinister essentially confirms that he is bringing to pass the Days of Future Past timeline. That was what his whole quote was about. He was making a reference to the Days of Future Past timeline that we saw during the original X-Men the Animated Series.
Don't fret the future. Why, Genosha was merely the beginning of a prologue, now past.
Everything turned into this dystopian wasteland on Earth with different factions rising up. Those loyal to the good mutants, those who supported Apocalypse. I call it the Age of Apocalypse timeline. I've used that term in previous videos. But the thing is, during the original X-Men the Animated Series, they were riffing on Days of Future Past, and then those episodes on the TV show inspired Marvel Comics in real life to make the Age of Apocalypse comic books. So the TV show riffing on Days of Future Past inspired the Age of Apocalypse storyline to happen later. The TV show came before the Age of Apocalypse comics. But essentially that's what's happening. Like we're seeing a version of that coming to pass, like they're creating that future as we see it. Basically the place where Cable grew up and is trying to come back and prevent now. So right now in present day, Mr. Sinister is orchestrating events trying to bring that about, but in reality, he's just working for Apocalypse. Even though neither of them care about each other, they're just using each other as tools to bring about their vision of the future.
The future is transformed. I am the instrument to purify the world. The evil of human and mutant must be cut away.
Here's the thing though, the showrunner told people recently that even though it might seem like Gambit is dead right now, they really wanted to feel like his death had weight, like they wanted it to sink into the audience, to all the other X-Men characters, like Rogue here is really feeling it. That was the reason why they had that prolonged scene where she says she can't feel him, like she can't feel his life force energy coming from him, so it felt like he really did die in that moment. But when all the Gambit stands out there were asking the showrunner, like, what's going on here? You got to bring him back right now. He said, trust me, as in, like, he'll be back, ... just not right away. And probably not the way you expect. Like, he doesn't intend to undo his sacrifice, his death here this way. And as you've seen out of the frying pan into the fire, things will only get worse for the X-Men as episodes go along, as seasons go along. Like, we're talking about multiple seasons here. They're not going to completely undo everything by the season finale. So what better evolution of the character than for him to return as Apocalypse's Horseman of Death, just like the comics? Now, in the comics, the reason why Gambit became the Horseman of Death was very different than what's going on with the X-Men on the show right now. Like, two very different things. They're just riffing on a lot of the comic books. What's happening on the show right now is a mixture of a lot of the E is for Extinction storyline mixed with Bastion's storyline from the comics and some Days of Future Past from the original show. Which itself, those Days of Future Past episodes in the original series were also changing a lot of the original comic book plot. But there's a lot of familiar things going on there, like a lot of iconic moments from the comics that they mix into all these new episodes. So think about it, there's a reason why we've seen Apocalypse show up in the intro for the show twice, fighting Cable. Normally they were just going to do Cable on the show, which we've seen so far. They would have just shown him by himself in the intros, but they chose to show Cable fighting Apocalypse for a reason. We've also seen that sometimes they'll show characters in the intro, but wait a few episodes to actually reveal them in actual episodes. So if we've seen Apocalypse twice in the intros, but not in the actual episodes yet, it means he's probably right around the corner. Episode 7 is called Bright Eyes. My early theory is that's a reference to Cable because that's a line that Rogue said to him during the original series.
Remember me, Bright Eyes?
So Cable will probably return to present day in the aftermath of what happened at Genosha and reveal more details about his mission to the X-Men. What he's probably trying to do is prevent the Days of Future Past timeline or Age of Apocalypse timeline from coming to pass by stopping Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse in the past. I still think the he that he said was coming, like the he is coming, is actually Bastion. That's a little bit different. I'll do a separate video about that at some point. But early theory is that we'll actually learn more about what Apocalypse is actually doing in all of this during that episode. Even if we don't see him, we'll probably get more hints about it, and we'll see him at least by the finale. But because the showrunner said he wanted Gambit's death to feel visceral and not take it right back, the X-Men are supposed to feel like Gambit is dead, and this burial scene that we saw in the first trailer, like very first trailer, might actually be for Gambit. So they really want you to think that his death is going to stick for at least a couple episodes. My early theory is that maybe in the season finale, like very last episode, we'll get some kind of teaser for Apocalypse actually resurrecting Gambit as his Horseman of Death. And we probably wouldn't see the 4 Horsemen with Gambit fighting the X-Men until like season 2. They're already working on season 3. We might even get a season 4, like I said. So they're probably going to end season 1 on a huge WTF cliffhanger. And what bigger WTF moment would there be to end on than to see Gambit come back, but as the Horseman of Death, and spend all of season 2 fighting the X-Men and Rogue, who still loves him? Think about how that would tear her up, being forced to fight the person that she loves. It's also something that was right out of the comics. In the comics, Gambit sought to infiltrate Apocalypse's inner circle by becoming one of his 4 horsemen, trying to protect the X-Men from them. But when he submitted himself to Apocalypse, the process he used to transform him into the Horseman of Death, this is actually what it looks like. They did it on the original animated series. Probably no coincidence that in episode 5, where we seemingly saw Gambit sacrifice himself, we also saw Angel, who was turned into Apocalypse's Horseman of Death in the original show.
And my greatest creation, death. From the ashes of this world, I will build a better one.
Obviously, before the attack, he was doing much better, though. But in the comics, the transformation process altered Gambit's mind like it did for Angel during the original episodes. Remember, for a long time, he was twisted evil until he broke the programming, Bucky style. Like, we're talking Winter Soldier Hydra programming here, but worse. So for a good long while during that comic book run, Gambit fought the X-Men and Rogue with the other Horsemen. He tried to kill them a bunch of times. Eventually, he's able to remember his love for Rogue. He slowly rehabilitates his mind, like I said, pulling a Bucky, basically deprogramming himself. But he still looked like the Horseman of Death. Like we saw Angel during episode 5, he still had his metal wings. He still looked like he did when he was one of the Horsemen. Marvel's way of fixing this in the comics was to have Gambit go to Mr. Sinister and have him perform another experiment. Performs a lot of experiments, that's kind of Mr. Sinister's thing, and changes Gambit's appearance back to what it used to look like. But he winds up working for Mr. Sinister for a while in the comics. There were a bunch more storylines that played out with him being separated from Rogue for various reasons. They didn't actually get back together as a couple for a long time. The TV show obviously changing a lot of that comic book plot, so it won't go down exactly like it did. But you get the idea. Gambit coming back, fighting the X-Men. Eventually they stop Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, many seasons down the road, and then free Gambit of his control, and slowly he begins to heal his mind like they did with Angel during the original series. There's also that long-running subplot with their relationship and Gambit not being able to touch Rogue. In the comics, though, Gambit was born with the potential to become Omega level, but he had Mr. Sinister perform an operation on him when he was younger. More operations here. That essentially stunted his development and prevented him from accessing his full power level. So he's still powerful. As you can see from episode 5, he was able to charge the kinetic energy of the entire Wild Sentinel to destroy it. But in the comics, he eventually wound up facing a version of himself from an alternate universe. Like, we're in the middle of a multiverse saga in the MCU right now. So he goes to Mr. Sinister to have him perform another operation, unlocking his full power potential, where he can control all forms of energy, even turn himself into pure energy. On the show, Omega level Gambit would be able to touch Rogue. They could actually have a real relationship together. So theoretically, after the X-Men eventually stop Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, and fix Gambit's mind, if his Omega level potential is unlocked when he becomes the Horseman of Death, that could be a path to his and Rogue's version of a happy ending. But if you think about it this way, characters usually only get those kinds of real happy endings at the very end of like the series finale, however many seasons the show winds up running. So the show goes like 3 or 4 seasons or whatever, we probably wouldn't see Gambit and Rogue together again until that ending. But it seems like the show right now is now picking back up with Cable, who's trying to come back again in time, and will probably start working with the X-Men, and we'll find out more about what's really going on with Mr. Sinister's master plan and how Apocalypse is pulling all these strings. And a lot of it seems like that gets into the Bastion character as well. There are a lot of Easter eggs for him in previous episodes, particularly on Forge's wall here. This is actually what he looked like in that original comic book series that I mentioned, Operation Zero Tolerance. The title of the finale is Tolerance is Extinction. It might wind up being a combination of the plot from E is for Extinction and Operation Tolerance. There's still a bunch of episodes, so I'm expecting to see some more Easter eggs for Bastion in the background. We might not fully find out what's going on till the actual finale. Everybody post all your theories in the comments though. How do you think the Gambit will be coming back eventually to the show? Like I said, probably only going to stay dead or seemingly stay dead for a couple episodes. If I were making TV and I wanted to end on a really big WTF cliffhanger, I would use that cliffhanger to show him coming back though. Like, just wait to the very, very final moment, then tease his return. But there's a bunch of big stuff coming up. My full X-Men 97 episode 7 video will post later this week after they release it. Click here for that. I'll update the link as soon as I post it. And click here for that brand new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer from CinemaCon with all that new footage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.